Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to New Cities. This is a city builder and simulator that is currently on Indiegogo and that is currently looking for help getting funded and getting made. This video is not sponsored. The game was not provided to me for free. I went and backed it on Indiegogo, and this video is not here to be my endorsement or me saying go and support this, but I do want to talk about the game. I do want to show it off a little bit, and if you like what you see, there'll be a link in the description that will take you to the Indiegogo page where you can read a bunch more information and make your own mind up as to whether or not this is something you would be interested in. So let's jump right into a little something that I made a little bit earlier. So those of you that have played SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4 might be looking at this and thinking it looks very, very familiar. It looks like the region screen from at least SimCity 4, which is the one that I can remember more than SimCity 3000. And it does, it looks very, very similar. It looks like we might have a couple of little towns sort of all connected together to make it look like one big city, but actually this is one map. We can go right in. Like we can go way in there. And I want to stress that the camera angle is a little funky sometimes, but we can go right in here. Like we can keep going. We can keep going. We can keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm going to slow the simulation's running slow already. We can go right in like this. We can go way in there. Way in there. And get up real close. Like from out here, we can go over here if we so desire. And this is something that's a little overwhelming at first when playing this. It's a little crazy, some of the things you can do in terms of scale with this game, because it doesn't quite hit you when you're building. I built all of this that you're looking at on live stream a week or two ago, and when you're building it like this right here, when I was laying all this out, I was like, oh, it's, it looks, it's getting quite big. Everything's growing and we're getting bigger buildings and city blocks and all that stuff. Then you come over here and lay out your farms and it's like, oh, this is a huge area of farmland and huge factories, and then you kind of get carried away building all of this, and then eventually you zoom out and you realize that really you've not built that much. That's overwhelming in a really, really cool way. And I want to go ahead and load up a fresh map and start a new city to show you how you sort of get to this point, because there are some people that are already really good at this game and that are building really cool looking things. I'm not one of those people. I barely have a creative bone in my body, but I'm really excited for what this game could bring to the table for city builders in general, and I want to talk about that a little bit. So I've gone ahead and generated a new map, and we can go ahead and pause up here at the very top of the screen, and in the top right we can see welcome to New Cities. Your first task is to build some roads. Click on the road tool in the bottom left corner. So that's going to be way down here, bottom left. We can go ahead and we have a bunch of options. We have roads, expressways, we can repair things, we have bridge pillars. We're going to stick with roads for the time being, and I'm thinking we're going to go into... Honestly, I'm gonna go plain and simple, right into the middle here. Simple, boring, that's me. We're gonna put in some roads, and we're gonna start with boulevards. And you'll notice that there is a grid going on here. It's a little weird. The game is on Indiegogo, it is an alpha, so there are gonna be some bugs here and there. But you can sort of see this grid outline, this thick line around here. It's a proper thick boy. Then right in the middle, we have smaller grid lines. And then you go in even further and you have dots that you can play with. So in this case, I'm gonna just go ahead and around these smaller grid lines, I'm gonna place some avenues, just like so, linking all those together. Then we can go ahead and we can see you've built some roads. Now place some zones. Use the zone tool next to the road tool. You need green zones for housing. This is called residential. We can do that, but I want to go ahead and put some roads just through here first so that we can get a little bit more residential going on. And while I'm doing all this, like I said, this video is sort of here for you to make up your own mind as to, whether or not this is the kind of game that you would want to support, the kind of game you want to play. But I'm really curious about this game for a couple of reasons. The first reason, I suppose, is that it is a little bit different to any of the city builders that I've played in the last couple of years. Obviously, this channel has been built largely around City Skylines, and I do absolutely love that game. And I've put 2,000 plus hours into City Skylines. So I think it's fair to say that while I haven't built many amazing things in City Skylines, I do have a fair idea of how to beat the game and how to sort of game the game a little bit. And I think it's fair to say that City Skylines is an amazing city painter, whereas I think it's fair to say the simulation side of it, the management side of it is a little, I don't want to say weak, but it doesn't have as much challenge as sometimes I would like it to have. And that's, I think, the game's biggest weakness. Now, for a game that has done amazing things, for a game that went in, and let me just say, this is a game that went in and took on Sim City and won. So City Skylines is by no means a bad game. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying it is. But the simulation definitely leaves a little bit to be desired. Whereas with this game, there's a lot of talk about the simulation and a lot of talk about what it's going to be with regards to the simulation, how the traffic's going to be simulated one way, and how you have an economy that you need to balance in another way, and how you have needs and wants and desires that you need to balance in its own way, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really hoping that this game does go in that direction and really sticks to that direction, because it will set it apart from games like City Skylines. I don't think, to be totally honest, I don't think this game is ever going to compete with City Skylines if this game was to go and be, for example, the parkitect of its genre. Because you have Planet Coaster, which is a theme park building game, 3D, beautiful, all that stuff. Then you have Parkitect, which is the same thing, just in a very different way. And they both work, and they both have different focuses, and they kind of both, you know, do their own respective things in the same genre. This game, I feel like if it was, for example, Roller Coaster Tycoon World trying to take on Planet Coaster, it's not going to work. Is this making sense? I really hope this game sticks to and goes heavy with the simulation and with the economy and with the balance in that regard. And that's what they're saying they're going to do, and that's what caught my eye about New Cities. Anyway, we have all this stuff building in here. We have a few more tooltips on the right side. We can go ahead and close that one and close that one. We have someone moved in. Now let's get them a job. Yellow zones called industrial allow farms. Farms need very large amounts of flat space. Expect to fill the map with them. Hint, for industrial zones, place roads along the grid lines. For residential, place roads along the dots so that every dot is connected to a road. You don't need to build a tight grid. Well, I've done that, so, well, that's great. It is giving us our first farm award here. That's because it's looking for people to be working, which they are, because I gave them some commercial. But let's go ahead and get them some farming area. And by the way, you can see just how small that little space is that I've just built. But let's give them some farmland. I'm gonna say they can have farmland sort of just over this way a little bit. So let's go ahead. I want to give them an avenue that could maybe run up to here. $660,000 for that is a lot of money, isn't it? It is a lot of money, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do that right there. And what I want to do is go in and I want to say that, let's see, 85K is going to be about right for that. Then about 126K for that. A lot of money. That's okay. 93K for that one. They are all lined up, which is what I want them to be. And 91K for that. Now, the reason I've done it this way is because each of those spaces is just going to be taken up by farmland. And what I can do is just bring this avenue the whole way over to here and then bring it at an angle down to about there. And that'll give us a connection out to what is about to be a whole bunch of farmland. So let's go to zoning. Let's go to here. And let's say all of this space is going to be made up of some farms, which should be absolutely lovely. Should be able to get a whole bunch of them out here and fill up a lot of that space, as you can see. So that will go ahead and that will give people more jobs. It'll obviously start the cycle of, people work in the, people shop in the commercial zones that get their goods from the farm zones that have their workers from the residential zones who shop in the commercial zones, etc., etc., etc. It is the standard cycle of residential, commercial, industrial that all city builders tend to have, and it's fine. It does what it needs to do. There are other things you can do as well. I mean, it does have the room for some interesting sort of combo districts, or at least in this case, which is apartments above shops, which I imagine means that you will have both residential and commercial on one tile, which is kind of huge as far as I'm concerned. I love that idea. You have offices, which I assume will not necessarily serve the purpose of selling goods, but will be a higher tier job for your citizens. And then you have factories, which not 100% sure what exactly they do, but we'll get to that and I'm sure we'll figure it out. Anyway, we have our first farm. That's fine. 100 people live here, 759 of them actually, but okay. The state now legally recognizes our locality. Someone even wants to open a store. We've already built some commercial. Place commercial zones at important intersections and along major thoroughfares. There will not be a lot of commercial demand until the city grows larger, so use it sparingly for now. That's fine. I like to think we've used it relatively sparingly. We only have commercial along sort of a lot of the main roads, so it's not that big a deal. I think we're doing okay. We can have a little look in here while we're waiting, and we can see that property tax, we can put it to 0 if we so desire. I'm going to put it to like, I don't know, solid 7%, I think, is what we'll do for that. Go for a good 7% property tax there just to get ourselves a bit more money. And we can speed the game up here at the top and just see how things go. I mean, we can see everything's building quite nicely. We have 1,000 people living here. There are officially more human residents than bovine, which is lovely. And at 5,000 people, we can build a school. So I think it's fair to say that we should look into expanding things a little bit. And while we're doing that, I just want to talk a little bit more about city builders in general, because it hit me the other day that really we've not had, at least I might be being ignorant here, but off the top of my head, I can't think of like a huge major city builder that has released in the last little while. I mean, Cities Skylines is, again, and I keep coming back to Cities Skylines, and I'm going to keep doing that because it's a game that I think most people are going to look at this and go, I think a lot of people are going to look at this game and judge it purely based on its looks, which I wouldn't recommend doing. Because again, I'll point you in the direction of a game called Parkitect, which is a fantastic sort of spiritual successor to Roller Coaster Tycoon and all that stuff. And it looks quite similar to this. It has a very similar style. And that is intentional. It harkens back to those games that it was inspired by. And this game is kind of doing the same thing. It's taking what, you know, games like, what off the top of my head, SimCity. Sorry, I completely drew a blank there. It's taking games like that and it's saying, you know, what would they look like in sort of a modern game engine? And I like to think this is sort of what it would look like in a modern game engine, which is kind of cool. I also realized I've built myself into a weird corner here because, as it turns out, I'm trying to not have too many roads connecting to individual avenues. So I think we're just going to do this and have these sort of all end in little cul-de-sacs, which, by the way, I love. These get paved, by the way. Eventually, we'll see like proper sidewalks and all of these, which is really, really cool, and I'm really excited about it. And also, this is a game where I don't have to worry about putting pipes in. I'm not going to forget about water. It's there. You don't have to worry about it, which is amazing for me, because if you've been keeping up with my City Skyline stuff, you'll know that I'm pretty bad at that. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, we'll go ahead and let people start moving into those spaces. We actually have some demand for offices, which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and put some offices on like that road and see what happens. I don't know if there is actually, there is the space to do that. Fantastic. So we'll get some offices on like that main bit there. And that's going to be our biggest building that we have, which is kind of a cool looking building. I like it a lot. So we've got that going for us. And I guess we can go ahead and speed the game up a little bit and see if we can get that population up to 5,000, which we should totally be able to do. I don't imagine it's going to be too difficult to get the population to climb a little bit. We're also getting some demand for factories, which is interesting. The residential demand fluctuating a bit like crazy there. But nothing that I think we need to worry about too much. I am thinking that we could maybe be a little bit cheeky and put a bunch of commercial around these avenues. Might not be a bad idea. Just throw a bunch of it along these roads and see if we can maybe get more people, you know, working in here and all that good stuff. We are also getting demand for more farms, so probably not a bad idea. Same with factories, probably not a bad idea to go ahead and throw a little bit of that in there. So let's head up this way. We can basically duplicate what we did. We do have 4.3 million and the population is climbing. So we'll go to streets. We'll go to there. We can go out to about there. We can go out to, I want to say about there. And then we'll go from there to there. And then we can just put a bunch of the old farming zoning into all these spaces. Let me pause while I do this, just so it all kind of builds at the same time, which will be absolutely lovely. There we go. I will just let that build up. That'll double the amount of farms that we have. That should deal with a bunch of that demand. We do have demand for factories, but I don't want to place those yet because I think, I might be wrong, but I think we need schools if we're gonna try and get some factories in here. I'm not 100% sure. I've played a little bit of this game. Like I said, I've done a little bit of dabble, but nothing too crazy. But we'll see if we can maybe get some schools in here once we get those 5,000 people, which, looking at the amount of available zoning, I'm not sure we're going to get 5,000 people with what we've built here. So we might need to go ahead and change things up a little bit. And what I'm thinking I want to do is two things. I want to go in and I want to get a boulevard. And I want to say that this road over here is going to be a boulevard. So is that one. That road can be, I think that is a boulevard. That's fine. All these roads out here going to be boulevards as well. And the reason I'm doing this is the boulevards, ooh, cancel. The boulevards have 6 lanes as opposed to the 4 lanes that these avenues have. And I'm just thinking that, let's just cancel all that too. There we go. I'm just thinking that we might want to have a bit of higher capacity. Ooh, higher capacity on some of these roads with what I'm about to do to them. So what I'm thinking is avenue from there to there, then avenue from there to there. This could go all the way back, quite expensive, but all the way back like that. And then we could maybe bring a boulevard through here. Now that's a nightmare of an intersection, and I'm only going to make it worse by making it a boulevard, but that's fine. It's a little funky. Like I said, it's an alpha. It's an Indiegogo. It's all that stuff. It's fine. Bit of a nightmare intersection, let's be honest. I'm pretty sure there's an intersection like this in LA, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, if you know the intersection I'm talking about, it's a nightmare in real life. I'm sure it is. I've only ever seen it in Grand Theft Auto 5, if I'm totally honest with you, but it looks like a nightmare, so I'm going to assume it is. Anyway, let's go ahead and just put a bunch more little roads in here. Just gonna go ahead and follow the dots basically, and it is a big grid, let's be honest. I'm making a big grid here, but you don't have to do that. I mean, we've already got a bit of an angled road over to the right here, which seems pretty solid. We could have some fun if we wanted to. We could do something like could do some angled work in here, so do something like this if we really wanted to, which I don't see why we don't. I don't see why not, I guess. I mean, yeah, let's do this. Let's have some fun with some angled roads and make things a little bit different here. It's still technically a grid, but it's not the same type of grid that it always is for me. So that's fine. I don't know what way to connect this bit. Let's see. Get a bit of an overhead view. We can do this. I'm out of cash. I am almost out of cash. Oh dear. Connect those together. And then connect you to there. Sure, we'll do that. This road over here, we could probably bulldoze a little. And then we could maybe do something like this and bulldoze you. There we go. So that seems kind of interesting, I want to say. It's definitely a little bit unique. Getting low on money, like it did say, but I'm not too worried about it because once I put some zoning in here, I think it'll bounce back. So just all along these roads, just a whole bunch of residential zoning should solve a bunch of our problems. Same with in here, just a bunch of residential zoning. And then along here, I'm actually going to try and do some of these apartments above shops because I can. Over here, I'm thinking we'll go for some shops and restaurants. I'm thinking we could do the same over here as well. Maybe not on that side if I can get away with it. Let's just remove that zoning. and remove that bit as well, just right there. And that should be all right. So let's see. That should all build up, and yeah, our money is climbing like crazy in the top left. We are going to be approaching that 5,000 people that we need, which is kind of cool, to be honest. You know, it's an interesting challenge. Get 5,000 people to get a school. That's fair enough. Although the growth seems to have stopped because there's no demand. Interesting. I've never not had residential demand before. That's new. That's very new. We didn't get any apartments that I wanted, which is fair enough. I'm wondering if we just need more farms, which is entirely possible. Let's go ahead then and just expand this road a little bit and see if that's going to be our problem. We can maybe go through here and do something like that, do something like that. And we can maybe just cap off the end of this road as well with a bit more of a, well, road. So something like this will hopefully start generating more, there it is, residential demand. So the population, 5,000. And that's actually gone ahead and unlocked a new tab for us, which is kind of exciting. So if we have a little look down here at this tab, I don't remember the exact name of it, but this is where we'll start bumping into things like schools, and eventually we can get a town hall from here and all that good stuff. So there are multiple things you can get from that tab. Amenity, actually, is what it is, the amenity tool. 5,000 people live here. There is now a dot on the map here. Residents are asking for a school. A school is expensive, but will attract factories. Factories employ more people than farms. There we go. At 20,000 people, we can build a city hall. So it's got a lot of similarities to city builders that you might have played. I think it's fair to say. What is this tool? I don't know what this does, because that's pause. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's got similarities, I think it's fair to say, to some city builders that you might have played. Get X many people, unlock this thing, and that's okay. I like that. I think it's cool. It's just a way to sort of do the challenge. You know, you don't get everything all at once, and that's fair. You know, again, it gives you that sort of added challenge. But I think what really excites me the most about new cities is, it's two things. I think it's the scale. For one, now City Skylines does have very large maps, but I don't know if I would say that City Skylines maps are quite to the same scale as this. And the other thing is the simulation at the traffic level that's been talked about, and that is something that you are going to have to research yourself a little bit, because I'm not too well versed in that myself, but I've heard things and I've seen videos and I've read things, and it just seems like traffic management is going to be a big deal, and there is a, maybe not management, but the simulation of traffic is going to be very interesting, and that you do need things like these boulevards and avenues and all that stuff, and you can do expressways, which are going to be your highways, and that's kind of exciting, I think. You know, a city builder that does the whole, you know, the focus on the building and the management and the economy and all that stuff. I'm really excited about that as an idea just on its own. So if the game can do that, then it's nailed it, as far as I'm concerned. It really, really has. And again, you know, I'm kind of a sucker for that stuff, to be totally honest. I'm really excited about the idea of that kind of thing in a city builder. And again, that's, you know, I'm drawing a lot of comparisons to City Skylines, which by, you know, in its own right is its own game, and that's fair enough, and so is this, and maybe it's unfair to keep drawing those comparisons, but I love both ideas. I love both approaches to city building. You know, I love the creative side that City Skylines gives you. I just wish in that game there was more availability. Sorry, I can't speak apparently, for management. And it's gotten better with expansions like Park Life and Industries, and what was the other one? Green Cities? No, Industries, Park Life. There was one more that I'm forgetting about, maybe, I think. It doesn't matter. You get the idea. They've done better with the management stuff in the recent expansions, and I hope they continue to do that. And I guess if I had to say something about new cities, it's that, you know, it doesn't combine what City Skylines does. It just does things that it doesn't do, if you get what I'm saying. This isn't a game that answers all those questions and says, here's the creativity of City Skylines plus all those things you want. This is a game that goes, here's the things that Cities Skylines does not do, which I think is kind of cool. And again, like I said earlier, it makes it sort of stand up on its own feet and go, we are not a clone of that game. We are not trying to take the spotlight away from Cities Skylines. We're not trying to take the spotlight away from any game. We're trying to stand up, get our own spotlight, or at the very least, share the spotlight with those games, which I think is really cool. So that's kind of my thoughts on this game. There is more to it. You know, we do have to build a school. We do have the money to do it. So let's go ahead and just build a school really quick. I'm going to put it like right in the middle of everything, so it's easily accessible. And that's going to be kind of expensive, but that's probably all right. We'll put property tax up to 10% because I'm an absolute monster. Yeah, I like to think this game is very much trying to stand on its own 2 feet and not just take the spotlight away from anything else. That is my 2 cents on New Cities. If I had to throw one other criticism at it, it's that I don't know. Part of me really hopes that New Cities is a working title. It might very well be, and I might not have read something. It's a little, because a lot of people shorten Cities Skylines down to cities. You know, where's cities? Do you play cities? Do you enjoy, you know, I think New Cities is potentially a little misleading because I don't think this game is trying to be the new Cities Skylines. So it's maybe just me. That might just be me reading into that a little bit too much. That might be my own projection there, but that would be a criticism to throw at it. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section of the video. There will be a link in the description of the video that will take you to the Indiegogo page where you can read more about New Cities. And while you're down there, if you want to see more from this game, I'm not promising a full Let's Play, but we could continue this save a little bit and see what we can do. Leave a like in the video, leave a comment saying that you would like to see more of it. I would be happy enough to do it. I've had some performance issues when the population starts growing like crazy, so I'm, again, not gonna be a long Let's Play, but we could dabble a little bit. We also just got a police station because there was a murder, so let's go ahead and fire that into the middle of everything as well, just while we're here. There we go. So there we go. We're running out of cash. We're fine. We are fine. We can go ahead and actually raise the fines to be aggressive if we really want them to be, which is fine by me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. It's been my absolute pleasure sitting here and talking at you a little bit about New Cities. Once again, there'll be some links in the description if you're interested in checking it out for yourself and reading up a little bit on it. Thought it was just fair for me to share it and talk about it in my own way. Thank you so much for watching. It has been my absolute pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.